recording. Hello, this is a reading for Virgo for 2024. We just did a reading for Sagittarius, actually, and you're number 2 on our list today of readings that we're going to be doing. So we're going to do all the zodiac readings, and you can check those all out here on the YouTube channel. We're streaming on Twitch right now. There are, something like 19, 20 viewers right now, people watching the readings as we're recording them live. And I feel like we should tell you about that, Virgo. That's, for some reason, there's something for you to know about, that you might approach things individually, but there's a whole team of people around you. Like, I have this sense that there's a whole bunch of people who are interested in what you do next. Like, you have a crowd, you have a following. So I might be talking to a Virgo specifically who has a following, or that's just cold energy that just comes out right now. So I'm letting it flow. If you have fans, you have people who enjoy what you do. You have people who are interested, even if they're not doing the thing that you're doing, they're interested in seeing how things turn out for you. So that's the first message for you right away. Other than that, we're just going to go ahead and pull cards and get started and see where things go. We're using this Rider-Waite deck right now. This is like the collective tarot deck that we have, that we only bust this thing out once a year at this point. We used to be to do one reading, but we decided to do these readings with this deck. So there we go. Starts out with the 6 of Swords and the Emperor. Interesting visual, because the 6 of Swords is like an escape, and it has you heading right for someone else's control. It could be basically like a loss of control, because I'm seeing generally I'm seeing the reverse cards as like energy that you would identify as external to you, or energy that you would identify as like not yours. And so oftentimes like the reverse cards come across as other people, or, like things that you're not in control of, which is really interesting that we're getting this sense of control from an energy that you don't feel in control of. And you're heading right for it in 2024. That's kind of an ominous start to a reading, but I think it's interesting. So let's just look into it and see where it goes. Let's not make too many judgments right away. This doesn't look good right away. You know what I mean? This looks kind of like, where are you going? What are you doing? Where are you taking me? I'm just realizing I said all that stuff about murder. I'm sorry. I'm just realizing I said all that stuff about murder in the Sagittarius reading. It just all of a sudden hit me that all happened. I was kind of just channeling and not really thinking much about what I was saying. And that, if you want to see that unfold. And so here it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of like, where are you taking me? But animated in such a way where it's like reenacting a horror movie or something like that. Like, over dramatic, okay? We're being a bit dramatic, Virgo, to start the year out, about the ominous nature of what is out there. My goodness. And so maybe I'm seeing that the beginning of the year starts out with a branching out, or actually having to step outside of an environment where you are in control of most things, and heading toward an environment where naturally other things are in control, because you can recognize you won't be. What's funny is my brother I'm reading the chat. Virgo here, already feeling the cards. Excellent. Virgo sun, she's a Sag sun. Wonder who is in control this year, right? Who's in control? Sagittarius reading is very cool. So maybe there's something about Virgo and Sagittarius. Sagittarius got this kind of like free go ahead to just be wild and free and creative. Here's a Page of Swords, and Sagittarius encountered a page as well. So I'm going to say something that you become a page for someone. Sometimes there are people who discover you. Sometimes there are people who are just in the right place in the right time to hear your ideas, and it's a brilliant idea, and then they take that to somewhere, And that's how things usually pan out. That's how opportunities form. Also, opportunities form for all different reasons too. Not to say there aren't barriers to those opportunities, but that's just a way that things kind of tend to work out. If I think about my artist friends, they'll have some wild story. Anybody who's made a career in art will have some wild story about how they ended up getting to where they are. It's just a series of encountering random people, and it's almost as if it's guided. This year, and so Sagittarius had a Page of Cups who heard this idea that Sagittarius had. And the page is here too, but this is you. This year, you are heading toward a place where you are a guide. And how strange is that, to head toward a place where you're not in control and you're being asked to play a part in guiding someone toward a ridiculous outcome. A ridiculous outcome. It's to exactly where they're supposed to go. However, they wouldn't have chosen it. Same as you wouldn't have chosen this, because let's be honest, Virgo. Let's be honest. Would you voluntarily take yourself to a place where you didn't have control in order to fill the role of guide? And this isn't to say that you are being forced to be a guide. This is to say that when you're entering into an environment where you don't have as much control over things this year, these are opportunities, and it might be multiple opportunities. It's like somebody kind of has to force you to go, but it happens. These are moments where this year you will be serving as a guide if you choose to. And I don't know if you're going to really have any kind of say in how you do it. It's just in you being genuine and noticing the things you notice and saying the things that you say. Everybody's being asked to be authentic this year, like there's always room for that every year. Look at this. There's a King of Pentacles. This is very similar to the Sagittarius reading, but almost as if you're playing that other part. I got a message right before this. It's like, please don't give me a work reading, and please no career reading. And that was like a Virgo begging to not do a career reading. This does look a lot like going to work every day and forcing yourself to go. And now you're in a position where you're in less control, but the things that you do will make a big difference. That does look like the message, Virgo, but I'm going to listen to you, and I'm not going to give you a career reading, okay? I'm going to say something more like, this is about you. This is about you, despite maybe not being in the most ideal circumstances when it comes to having to go to work every day. You might not like where you go every day. You might have to kind of force yourself to get out of bed to go to this place if you have a 9 to 5, or even if it's like it's not very fulfilling. It seems like something where it's like, it'll do for now. This is 6 of Swords energy. It'll do for now. Having said that, do you know how bright you are? And I'm sure you do. I hope you do. Do you know how much of an influence that can have no matter where you go? We're not going to talk about work. I promise. We're going to talk about you. Look at this. The moon. Work. Work is what it is. We're not gonna worry about it. It's a whole other ball of wax. You could be going anywhere. You could be going anywhere under the moon, is what this is saying. And you would still shine like you do. Like a Page of Swords is a young energy. It's an innocent energy. It's an observing energy. It's somebody who just speaks when they have a thought. And maybe you're somebody who has been told you speak out of turn sometimes because you just have an idea and you go, oh, I know. We're getting something for the collective in 2024 about there being just a general kind of removing those barriers of people who say, shh, when you speak out of turn. Just a sense of openness for what people have to say and where people are at. A willingness to understand. I see you, this is understanding. It's like you're curious to understand something this year. or I'm almost seeing multiple times. It's just for the nature of who you are, wherever you go, no matter how it is that you get there, you carry with you this innocent curiosity to understand things that takes you somewhere this year. Oh, we're just having some resonance with the Virgos in the room, and let's not talk about work. Okay, Virgo, we don't have to focus on work this year. Let's not. It's been a long few years on focusing on career. The Ace of Swords, look at this. Somebody realizes that you come by it honestly. You come by it innocently. This might have been your barrier. If there have been times where you've shown up places and you've had some great ideas, but you don't really have a sense for the context of when somebody might shush you, or when someone might say you just spoke out of turn, which is like a Page of Swords is someone who just, well, they don't have enough experience in that environment to know, and whether or not you'll ever gain enough experience in an environment like this, who knows? It looks to me like barriers being removed isn't always people getting out of your way, isn't always, roads opening up. Sometimes it's somebody finally understands that you come by it innocently. Take this as it works for you, because I'm seeing it happening over and over and over again. This energy building up no matter where you go. So we can't totally not talk about work though, Virgo. It's going to be there too. There are going to be people, there's going to be someone in like every environment where you go who kind of for the first time realizes that you just mean well. You mean well. And that might be something kind of strange for us all to hear, but like for somebody who is constantly told that they're speaking out of turn, or that, constantly being shushed, or kind of like treated like they're doing something malicious just for noticing something. This is like, I can sense a relief here. I can sense like how awesome it is to finally be understood as somebody who means well. That you just have an idea. You're just curious. You're just asking a question, like I don't want to downplay this as like, people are going to be more accepting of you this year. No, this is huge. This is like to encounter at least one person in any environment who understands that you mean well. The power of that. I think that's going to be something. Another Virgo in the room. Resonating. There we go. I don't want to go to work. Let's not talk about work. Okay, we're not going to talk about work, Virgo, I promise. But it's also, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to have worked in an environment in order to have a thought about that environment. You don't have to have a certain level of experience in that environment. I feel like there's this Emperor, this King of Pentacles. I'm sorry, I can't not talk about work. There are these figures who would argue that if you are not the boss, then you shouldn't have an opinion. And we're getting this confirmation that that's just a load of, like, you are someone. And you are entering into an environment, and so you have a thought about something, you have an impression of something, and you want to share that impression, and you're meaning well, and you're not meaning to, come off as, condescending or anything like that. You're just, this is my honest impression of something. You don't have to have a certain level of experience before you can have an experience. This is environments that are going to open up to you having an experience wherever you go, and there being room in those environments for you to have like less experience. And it's still being okay that you can still have a thought even though you don't have the experience. And you can still talk to people who do have the experience, even if your thoughts come off as naive, even if they come off as kind of like you don't understand fully. This is a desire to understand, and it's going to be realized by maybe upper management or the forces that be in control are going to start to realize that these thoughts, these impressions are valuable. Don't like being shushed either. There's a little bit about the shushing. So more freedom and recognition of Virgo's abilities. Yeah, I see that. Don't like being shushed either. I can totally see. I'm reading the chat. We're streaming this too. I could totally see how this could happen in a work setting for Virgo that is bold, let's say. Yeah. Page of Pentacles. Page of Cups. Look at all these pages, young energy. But also kind of, how can we put this? That you're not going to be somebody who makes something big happen this year alone. You're going to be a part of things. There are a lot of people who are a part of things. One of the things that you have to offer this year is to be a part of a team, and your impressions matter. There's also what people can do. So I wouldn't say this idea that you don't want to have to do the manual labor of something. That kind of makes sense because you might be sensing that you're kind of more here to give your impressions. There are other people who are more keen on doing manual labor. There are more people who are keen on being good listeners. Not saying you're not those things as well, but I see the primary energy that you enter into 2024 with is actually just leaving environments where you used to maybe have to do those things, where it's not where you shone necessarily, where you were at your best, and heading toward environments where you're not in control, but there's a reassurance in this Ace of Swords that someone understands that your impressions are actually kind of super important, that they need someone to fill the role of giving impressions. I don't know, this could be a comedian though. If you're a comedian and you are, you're thinking about learning how to do impressions, yes, we need someone like you. We need more people doing impressions. We lost our impressions people in favor of, I don't know, soundbite people. Everyone is going to be doing, it's like everybody's working toward the same goal this year, which must be a big relief if you felt like you were doing something you were it was like out of your element. Meanwhile, maybe you were in control, because I see you heading toward a place where you're not in control, and that being like a drastic change. I'm seeing like when you were in control, maybe, let me just get a card to confirm that. The Knight of Wands. The King of, okay, value. This is totally it. So when you were in control, it was like everybody has what they do, does what they do. Everybody has value, and rather than trying to dictate the outcome of things, there's this valuing whatever comes of this team. And maybe when you were in control before, King of Wands, maybe when you had more authority, maybe when you were kind of more an overseer, this was an area where you ruled through values, and by valuing people's time or valuing people's, ability to do what they do, and kind of selling the dream of the outcome that comes from this unique group of people who gets together and does what they do. I see you working with teams. Same with Sagittarius too. So you might want to partner up with a Sagittarius. You maybe had to go through this leadership role last year, the year before. That was to kind of tune you into whoever leads you after this, like to have empathy, like to give you the direct experience so that you can empathize with whoever it is who's going to be directing you or leading you. I see this here, valuing, the value is placed on making sure that everybody's happy. So I'm sorry, I know I'm not supposed to do work, but this looks like somebody who worked in HR. I'm sorry, Virgo, I'm trying. And what that might have done is ensuring that everybody is happy might have left you stuck, having to do a lot more of the work. It's like you might have been somebody, oh, I'm reading for work. I'm so sorry. And it's whatever work you're doing. It is work. I'm sorry, Virgo. I can't hold off. It is work. There's an issue with being somebody who values the very most that everybody is having a good time. And the issue with that is that when you are in that leadership position to make sure that everybody's happy, that leaves you stuck doing things you don't want to do. Generally, you're the one who sacrifices yourself and what you want to do in favor of everyone's happiness. And there's nothing wrong with this. I feel like this was just a period of time, and maybe it's characterized by this sensation that you got left at the end of the day working long hours to make up for, somebody needed to take a day off, and it was kind of wrong time. But it's like, okay, I'd just do what you need to do, and here you are kind of picking up the slack. That's a work situation. This would be maybe more relevant in a family situation if you are considering yourself to be somebody who is a wrangler, like somebody who makes sure that everyone is happy. Everyone in the family has what they need. That person who's making sure that everybody has what they need is often the person who ends up sacrificing their own needs. Not so much their own needs as much as their own desires first. And very adaptable energy here. What I'm seeing is that you're being relieved of this pressure this year. And you're being almost whisked away. Like, this was very valuable experience to have so that you can relate with the leadership. You will be able to understand that there are a lot of things you can't see as a page. When you're not the leader, you can't see how much sacrifice is going on. But you can infer how much sacrifice is going on because you've been there before. And so this kind of gives you that. See, this is what, it's symbiotic. It's not that somebody finally decides to value your opinion for no reason, just because they're a good person. That doesn't say anything about you. You, having had these experiences, comes off in the types of things that you have to say. Sometimes it's in what you don't say. And maybe you come off not as ungrateful, or, if you have this experience, you have this understanding under your belt of what it is to be in charge of everybody's happiness and to make sure that everybody's satisfied, everybody's having a good time. You end up just naturally not saying entitled things. You end up not saying ungrateful things. And it's just a collection of, like, everyone here in this place, I get that they are open to giving the benefit of the doubt. Like, let's see what you have to say. Let's let you speak, and you'll tell us who you are. And you're going to have an opportunity to show who you are and to show the experience that you've had in leadership positions and roles and all of that. And that you holding on to a value like that, what kind of a responsibility it is. It's almost like you're working beneath your skill level or your level of experience. But like, this is the type of place, or this is the type of environment where everybody's level up. The types of people who would run the place at the last place become the people who are working in this place. Like, this is a step up energy, Virgo. And so I'm sorry, I know you don't want to talk about work, but I feel like there might be a career change for you this year. If not, it's like I see like a sector change. You're changing into a sector where your skill set isn't being used to enforce values. It's actually being used to communicate ideas. Can that make sense? I should catch up on the chat there. There we go. And you'll be compensated. You'll be fairly compensated. It's interesting when you're in the role. I see this parallel role. Like, you'll be compensated as a leader, but you'll be doing the work of a worker. And you'll be expected to take the responsibility of a worker. Like, you get paid more to do less work. Isn't that ideal? It's lovely. I can't get away from work for Virgo. I'm sorry. I tried. There's the Chariot. We mentioned the Chariot, and this will be your last card because I see a direction here. I see a suggestion. 2024 is about recognizing the value of doing less. Less is more this year. Not do less and then you'll find opportunities where you're expected to do less. A little bit more like keep doing you, and an opportunity is going to come your way. You'll be whisked away to a place where you'll be compensated equally for less work. The question here is about this Chariot and this self-sacrifice, and why do you feel like this dynamic is inappropriate? What bothers you about getting paid the same to do less work? We said this about the Chariot, that a chariot unhinged, a chariot without a driver, is going to crash into a front lawn in 5 minutes. Where are you going to steer this? Because if you're in the habit of sacrificing yourself and doing more work to make everybody else happy, and you're offered an opportunity to do less work for the same pay, are you so habituated to this situation that you might pass it up? And you're being asked to think about that because there's going to be a moment of choice. And I see you right now leaning toward no. And I wonder if that's the best decision. You know what I mean? Thanks so much for watching the reading. I wish you all the best in 2024. Check out the other readings. Come see us on Twitch. We're live streaming right now. There's a bunch of people watching as we're recording these readings. There's something else to say to you. Just a big silent space. And an exhale with a sigh. Like that. Whatever that means. Okay, catch you later.